All right, so we're a little short on time, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the 2020 Fall Webinar Series presented by MDK Management and 5-Star BDM. I am Grant McGaw. I'm the founder and owner of 5-Star BDM, which stands for Brand Development Masters. We are a professional consulting advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized businesses and entrepreneurs. And our services do include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, data analytics, as well as digital marketing and personal branding. So our business and personal branding company was or has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow, which has resulted in more business, more opportunities, better reach, and positive outcomes. And we want to continue to do that for not only our South Florida community, but the community at large throughout the U.S. So I'd like to introduce my esteemed assistant here, Ariana Silcott. She'll be monitoring the chat as well as the Q&A, and then we'll go over a little housekeeping before we get started. So Ariana, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Ariana Stovai. I work with Grant at 5-Star BDM on healthcare and operations. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So as far as housekeeping, we will have a Q&A right after the discussion. Feel free to participate as well as in the chat to voice any questions, and we'll try to make this as interactive as possible. So without further ado, I'd like to read a bio on Denise Kegler so you get a little better understanding of who she is. Denise Kegler began her impressive career as a television news reporter in Columbus, Georgia. She launched her corporate run at Reebok, where she held progressive roles during her 17-year tenure. Those roles included director, vice president, and senior vice president. Denise broke through the first of several glass ceilings when she was named Reebok's senior vice president and chief communications officer, making her the highest ranking African-American at Reebok. Shortly after the Adidas Group acquired Reebok in 2006, Denise was named head of global communications for Reebok and corporate communications US for the Adidas Group. 2 years later, Denise was recruited by video game icon Nintendo to the role of vice president of corporate affairs and was based out of its Redwood City, California offices. In 2009, Denise returned to Boston to reunite with her then husband and 2 children who remained in Boston, and was soon recruited by video game and entertainment startup 38 Studios to serve as its chief marketing officer. 2 years later, Denise was recruited by medical device giant Boston Scientific, where she served as its SVP of corporate affairs and communications. Among her accomplishments, Denise led the global rebranding of Boston Scientific and wrote its current tagline, Advancing Science for Life. In 2015, Denise's career was impacted when her Boston Scientific role was eliminated during a company reorganization. But just 3 weeks after leaving the company, Denise founded MDK Brand Management and began fulfilling her ultimate dream, helping others fulfill theirs. Denise now works with clients to define their brand, craft their story, and achieve their professional or business goals. During her stellar career, Denise has worked directly with numerous A-listers, including Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Scarlett Johansson, P. Diddy, Allen Iverson, Venus Williams, and Pharrell Williams. Finally, Denise, who is also an adjunct professor, is the author of $40 and a Brand, How to Overcome Challenges, Defy the Odds, and Live Your Awesomeness. The book includes brand building steps, tips, and firsthand stories featuring numerous celebrities, including former President Bill Clinton, Beyonce, Oprah, and Will Smith. So for everyone here who is with us on this webinar, you're about to attend a master class in career advancement with a true glass breaker, someone who has advanced her career multiple times, including during challenging times, and more importantly, is dedicated to helping others do the same. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Denise Kegler as our moderator for today's session. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you, Grant. And hello, folks. Good to have you here. Thanks for being here for our second webinar in our series, as Grant mentioned. This webinar, On the Path from Mainstream to Top Tier. And it is something that I have been able to do, advance my career from mainstream to top tier. So for the next, 45 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about that with two individuals, our panelists, who are going to share their experiences with doing just that. They are on the path from mainstream to top tier. So our first panelist is this wonderful young woman, Romina Walmart. So she is the founder of RW Consulting. You see a little bit about her background here. I'm so excited to speak with her, have her speak with you and share her story in just a few minutes. But Romina has been on fire since going through my virtual career coaching program. And we're going to hear her story and hear some of the ways that she has set out on that path since going through my program. So this won't be just about me talking about the benefits of going through a career coaching program or going through my career coaching program, but you're going to hear from Romina, who's going to share her journey with you as well. And then joining Romina is another fabulous young lady, Courtney Leonard. So she also went through my program. Courtney is the founder and CEO of Her Vision Media, which includes We Woke Media, a division of Her Vision Media. Courtney also on fire since going through my career advancement, my career development program, my virtual career coaching program, a few months ago. And so she's going to join Romina in sharing her journey with you, some of the benefits that she saw coming through that program and how that program has helped her. She has her hands full, as does Romina. They are thriving after going through the program. So I'm going to spend just a few minutes talking with them, taking your questions. As you heard Grant say, Ariana is going to be moderating, but we do want this to be a very interactive session. So as people join in, as you guys are here, you don't have to wait until the end of the session to ask your questions, but please do go ahead, post them in the chat, and Ariana will go ahead and moderate those questions for us. So I'm excited to jump right in. Of course, there is me, which I won't go into any more details about my background since Grant did that, but I am going to be moderating this session. So yes, brand strategist, career coach, former C-suite executive, and now I am pouring everything I learned during my 25 years in corporate, the 5 years as a business owner, I poured into this program that we're going to be talking about, my virtual career development program. Okay, so with that, what I'm going to do is stop sharing. But as I mentioned, please do submit your questions. Raise your hand if you want to get Ariana's attention, and then submit your questions in the chat and we will get right to it. Okay, so we're going to do it throughout the webinar. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing so that you can see us, Romina and Courtney and me, without seeing this slide. So we're going to stop share and we are going to jump right in. So we got the panelists here. Hey, Romina. Hey, Courtney. So I'm going to ask these guys to start off by talking about themselves. For about a minute, I will ask them to each introduce themselves for about a minute, and then we're going to dive right in to some questions. So I will kick it off with Romina, who's going to share her background, share some of her journey with us. So Romina, take it away. Tell us about yourself.
Yes, thanks, Denise, and hello, everyone. I'm the founder of RW Consulting, and my main goal is to provide marketing strategies to healthcare organizations in the community, especially diverse communities who speak other languages. And as you know, here in Boston, this is the healthcare mecca of the country. So happy to be, going through this new business venture that I have, and also working on my platform coming up in a few months, myhealthfair.com, which is a meeting point for healthcare organizations and also the communities. And as you know, they have been the most effective during COVID, communities of color, Blacks, Latinos. So that's my passion, my enthusiasm, my mission is to really being able to help in any way I can with all the experience that I have, more than 10 years in healthcare marketing in the city of Boston. And thank you for having me here today.
That's great, Romina. And something you said, so certainly the communities of color have been disproportionately impacted by coronavirus as it comes to not only just their health, but also careers, their professions. I mean, a lot of people of color have lost their jobs through this pandemic. So that's why I was so drawn to wanting to do a webinar like this, to have people hear from you, hear from Courtney about the importance of really staying focused on building their career, advancing their career, even during these challenging times. And so I look forward to hearing more about that from you, and also from Courtney. So Courtney Leonard, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your journey from mainstream on your way to top tier.
Good morning, everyone. Almost afternoon. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Denise. I'm glad to be here with Romina, and to officially be in partnership now with Grant and Ariana. Thank you again for this opportunity, and just to speak on the benefits of working with you and having your mentorship and leadership and thought leadership within my career. As you guys heard a little while ago, I am the founder of Her Vision Media and Consulting, and one of my entities underneath that have recently launched is Woke Media, which stands for Woke Women of Color. And it is a platform that is a Black women-led platform that is a new digital entity here in Boston, Massachusetts, with the focus on providing communication outlets and that are focused on elevating the voices of women of color and girls of color, in Massachusetts, and obviously in our digital world and beyond here in Boston. But throughout my career and the things that I've been into, my passions have been about that and involved with that. And that is elevating and working with communities of color, and specifically focusing on supporting women and girls of color throughout my nonprofit work and in my media and marketing background. And so I'm happy to be here today to speak to a little bit about that, and how Denise worked her magic with my career focus and aspirations through her program, and just glad that I'm having the opportunity to sit here today. So thank you again.
So thank you, Courtney. So it's interesting. So yeah, so when Courtney and I met a while back, and she shared with me some of the challenges that she was going through. And one of them I want to talk to you about, Courtney, and ask you about, because I think a lot of people can relate to this. When we met, and before you signed up to join my virtual career coaching program, you talked about how, as I said, like so many other people fall into this trap of that you were so focused on helping other people, reach in their aspirations, and less focus on your own. You were putting other people first. Tell everyone more about that challenge, and how not just my career coaching program, but the benefits of helping or having a virtual, or I guess in-person or virtual program, really help people just kind of get focused and streamline and put themselves in their careers first.
Sure. I mean, I think that for most folks, especially I think it comes from my nonprofit background, in the sense that I've always been in the space of giving back. I think I was raised like that. And so then throughout the course of my life, like my parents were educators, they were, activists. And so I think that by default, that it was just in my DNA to be in that space. And even though I grew up, and even in school, college, my undergrad, and then in my master's work was around journalism, broadcast, and marketing. And so then there was always this space for me where I was like, how would I use those points to elevate, the stories of the people that I was working with. And I think that one of my biggest issues, as you've spoken to, as I was one person working probably 15 different situations between my actual work, the nonprofits I was giving back to and volunteering and even running. And so trying to sit down and say, hey, Courtney, I'm gonna focus on what you've been passionate about and building, this company that you've had in your mind for like the years and years and years. My biggest challenge was just actually committing to myself. And there's this quote, and I'm gonna mess it up, but it's like if you don't, put yourself first, it's basically like you could somebody else will allow you to spend your life building their dreams if you don't, focus on building yours. And so when I came into your course, one of the key things that I would say would help out is just even in the actual activities of actually, one, making the commitment to spend the time to come to the course, and then actually doing the pieces, the activities that we worked on that really made us have to sit with ourselves and focus on like, what are the steps that you're taking, what are you not taking, what are you doing those analysis of, just the movements and the decisions that I was making as it related to my own personal brand and career. And having to sit with that and realize that I was probably my biggest barrier to that was helpful for me, and just like kind of like a reality check and a wake up call for me to, get focused and buckle down.
Wow. Thank you. Yes. I do remember that, but and so many other people can relate to you, Courtney, and spreading yourself so thin and doing so many things, so many balls being juggled in the air, and how many of them are you actually able to catch, and how many of them are going to fall, are going to drop. And for any career coaching program, and certainly mine, one of the benefits is to help you focus and help you streamline everything that's swirling around inside your head, because we all want to do a lot. We all want to get stuff done. The key is to streamline and really focus on what do we know we can get done, and who can benefit the most from our ability to streamline. And so, Romina, on that point, we talk a lot about in my virtual career coaching program. Personal branding is a big part of what I work on with the clients who sign up. And we talked a lot about your brand, and of course, you've gone on to start a company after going through my program, which I'm so proud of you as well for doing that. So talk a little bit about how going through a career coaching program can really help you move, which is what I did, move from internal, working for a company, and then feeling like you have the confidence now to do something you've always dreamt of doing, which is starting your own business.
Yes, definitely, Denise. Thanks to your program and your mentoring, I was able to bring together my knowledge, my experience, my skills and passions from working for the last 10 years in community outreach, healthcare marketing, business development in the city of Boston. And I saw what were the opportunities and the needs in the community, especially from both the community and also from organizations who needed to connect with the community. And this program, your mentoring, pretty much helped me help mold all of this and put a form to all of this, because that was my biggest challenge, starting a business from scratch. I've never been a business owner. I've always worked in, Fortune 500 companies and in corporate, but I think working with you, who have this experience already and who went through all this challenge, and you have walked on that road, it made the process so much easier for me, and it brought so much clarity to what I wanted to do.
No,
Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt you, ladies, but actually, Romina, I have a question for you. Congratulations on your consulting business, but I also wanted to know, what is the biggest challenge that Denise's program helped you overcome?
Yes, so this wonderful program really gave me the tools to define my personal brand and my vision. as I was preparing to launch this new business, I think the fact that this program gave me a chance to do a SWOT analysis on myself, which I had never done before. And it gave me the tools to define the steps to follow and in what order in order to develop and execute my personal branding plan. So for me, this was really a good foundation as I started to think about developing and starting my consulting business. So I think that was definitely key, having that foundation and working with this program to put that foundation in place.
Yeah, no, that's, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Ariana, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say thank you for answering that question, but actually I have a question for both you and Courtney in this case. So I know both of you guys are business owners. So, you know, people want to grow their careers within a company, and they actually want to reach a management level like Denise. So what do you think an online career coaching program would be valuable to someone, you know, like me, who's an early careerist?
Why don't you, Courtney, why don't you start first?
I think that to your question, Ariana, I mean, regardless if you're an entrepreneur or if you're trying to advance within the corporate setting or the company that you're already in, I feel like the activities or the tools or the things that we were able to work through and walk through and build in terms of figuring out your personal branding and then like your goals and your SWOT analysis that Romina spoke to, and just some of the activities, even like we did like a vision boarding. I think a lot of what the course is great for is that it really makes you assess and kind of put into perspective, like, what is it that you really want to do? Who are you in the sense that how is that going to impact the decisions you're making and the trajectory of whatever your career is? And I think regardless of building your own company or advancing within the company that you're in, it's going to make you strategize and really put to paper and process out for your own self, like, okay, what are the steps that I need to get there? What are the barriers that are keeping me from making these advancements? And what do I need to do, or how do I need to change people's perceptions of myself and my brand so they understand those goals and can support me in those? If you are talking about you're working within a company already. So I think that kind of personal analysis and planning is going to be effective for you, whether you're trying to build your own or you're trying to advance within somebody else's company or situation.
Yes, definitely. And no, that is so true. And you know, in order for people to grow their career in advance, they need to have a intention, they need to have a purpose, and also associate themselves with people who have similar interests and missions. And you get to do that with this program, with this online coaching program. And like, you know, Courtney said, it helps you focus and also to start developing an action plan. And I think also a great thing is that setting up your own timing and accountability is also helpful, and that will help you in your career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. You guys talked about some of the activities in the program, and I remember thinking when I put the program together, and it actually even someone who's already I was talking to recently who signed up for the program, the next session of the program, we were talking about this, and because the program is full of activities, as you guys know. But it's not too much, right? I mean, I want you guys to say, to help to make sure that people aren't scared off, because people are juggling a lot of balls, especially if you're at home and you're educating your kids or helping the teachers with your online schooling with your kids. You got a lot going on. If you're still working, you're probably working from home while you got the kids on the side. So talk about how you're able to do the program while juggling other balls in your life with these online activities that are part of my program.
Yes, I mean, I can tell you, I'm a mom, and when I was in the program, I was, you know, I'm still working full time while I launched my business. And I think that you have to prioritize. What are your goals? What is it what is important to you? And career development must be a priority. And if you're launching your business, you need to start, because if not, you're just going to be talking about it without doing anything. So you need to start. And for me, that was a priority. So I had to make the time to join the weekly classes. It was very doable, doing the weekly program, and the work was doable as well. I don't have really nothing to say, any complaints about that, but definitely if you have to make the time, if you want to get something done in practice, and if you want to be accomplish your goals, you have to make the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Courtney, and I'm sure Courtney would agree with that. It's a commitment. If you're going to grow your career, if you're committed to advancing your career, like you said, Romina, you can't just sit back and think about it and wish upon a star that it's going to happen magically. It doesn't work like that, Courtney, does it?
No, not at all. And I was just thinking, like, to the point that we talked about a moment ago, is you have to make the decision and want to do it. And if you've been putting yourself off, then you're going to continue to do that. And to Romina's point, I mean, I think as women, and I think especially as women of color, we are by default in our lives have been like bred in that way, to be able to multitask and be able to put things in, to prioritize, in the sense that we've had a lot of barriers and things that we are overcoming in our workplaces, or a lot of us have decided to go into maybe owning and creating our own because of our experience within corporate America. So whether it's kids, whether it's religion, whether it's family, whether, there are different like personal things that you like to do, I think you make time for, what you care about and what you're passionate about. And just like if we went to grad school or any of those other things, we fit it in the way that, we need to. And I feel like it was very doable. I'm a person who wears 10 or 11 hats on any given day, and might be working 15 and 16 hours between all my different responsibilities. And I still found time to sit down and say, I'm going to do this course. And then throughout the week, whatever that the weekly activity was, like I was able to figure out to do it. And it helped to have that community in creating, the conversation throughout the week, and the way we did on social, to see what people were posting or what people had done as well for the same assignment. And it kind of made you be like, oh, okay, let me make sure I get this done, so I'm not looking like the one that, fell short or wasn't, focusing on what I should have been doing for the week. So I think that it helped in that sense to have that cohort, of support to make sure that, we were staying on task.
I love your honesty, Courtney. I love your honesty.
Courtney, I have a question for you actually on that note and on that topic. You made a decision to invest in yourself when you registered for Denise's coaching program. So for those who are unsure about spending money right now, how would you, advise them or lead them into making that decision?
I look at it like, when you think about the things, and I think in COVID, especially right now, I'm realizing how much money I spent on stuff that I didn't need to be able to spend on. Like, I drank ridiculous amount of coffee every day. And if I figure my $20 a week that I'm spending at Dunkin's or whatever, if I could put that into a place that's going to have some long-term, positive repercussions for myself, then, you make that little bit of sacrifice. And to this extent, it's an investment. We spend hundreds of dollars on clothing and shoes and eating out or whatever is convenient as we're on our space. So we just take that. I looked at it as, if I cut short some of those things and maybe cook more to make my mother proud, and saying that she didn't raise somebody that didn't know how to cook. I did some things to make sure that money that I was investing in myself made sense. And everybody can't do it in the same way. So it's like, figure out the way to invest the money back into yourself. Where can you spend less or cut less? And don't look at it as a loss, but more so that you're investing in your bigger picture. And I think, looking at it like that, and again, putting yourself first, like if you want to be better, like these are things you're paying. If we look at all the things that Grant talked about, Denise has done in her 30-year plus career, like people paid for her time. You're paying for that knowledge. Like, it's an investment. It's not like, oh, you're just throwing the money away, not just in yourself, but the quality of that information and that mentorship is bar none. It's 5-star. So I think that if you look at it and keep that perspective, that is what helped me make the decision to go ahead and make this investment.
Thank you for answering that question. Actually, this one's going to be for the both of you, Courtney and Romina. And I'm very curious about this. What is your biggest takeaways that you guys got from the program? Because we're understanding here that you're investing in yourself to grow your career, to break those glass ceilings. So what's the biggest things that you guys taken away from Denise's program?
Yeah, well, definitely. I was able to do some self-discovery and confirm what I love doing. What comes easy to me, and I will do even for free all day long. And so this gave me so much clarity, this program. I was able to know more about my aspirations and core values. I got feedback from people I work with and that know me, family members, and also it helped me have clarity on the impact I want to have in both my professional and personal life. So it was a wonderful experience.
I would say on that note, too, I agree wholeheartedly with everything Romina said, and just in a very tangible way. I keep harping on the activities because for me, in terms of structure, my brain, I feel like as a creative and having just like that arts background is always like, I'm a visionary, but I can have vision for days and none of it has reached that a piece of paper at that point. And so for me, the tangible aspect of really having to sit down and create that strategic plan of just in the first 10 steps. And I forget the tool that you named, Denise, but it was literally that 10 steps of like, here's what I'm going to do next, like legit. This is what I need to be able to do. And it wasn't like a 10-year plan or the full 5-year plan, but even making the next 12-month plan or the next 3-month plan. Like, what is that? What are those steps that I need to take? Because sometimes it's taking the first step. And so my biggest takeaway from the program was being able to write down and decide what those next steps were going to be, my literal next steps. So on top of everything Romina spoke to, that tangible for me was one of the biggest takeaways because it helped, start that symbolic snowball of what was next for me and the things that I decided to do for my career in my business.
That's awesome. I know that the words that you guys are speaking about your experience, you are continuing to inspire me and to make me know that the path that I am on right now, the commitment that I have made to spend the rest of my life, my career focus on, is helping other people reach their goals and break through, stand out and break through. And that is what I have poured into my virtual career coaching program. And I thank you guys for sharing your experiences, for sharing your journey. And I'm so proud of what you guys are continuing to do after going through the program. I couldn't be prouder. And hopefully people who are seeing this will feel inspired by your story. So on that note, so we're going to say thank you, but you guys stand by. You can turn off your video if you want to, in case we have questions at the end. But I'm going to dive into sharing more information with folks about the programs. I'm going to share my screen again, so bear with me. So here's the program that I am launching in January 5th. Of next year, mainstream to top tier. It is a 10-week virtual career advancement program. And this program consists of 5 modules, 5 online modules, and you get 5 live group coaching sessions with me. And Courtney talked about this a little bit, the importance of the group coaching. And it's something I thought a lot about, one-on-one coaching versus group coaching when I worked on creating this program. And I went with group coaching because it's something, the reason, and Courtney expressed it very well, is that you learn from each other. And even if you're by yourself, that's okay too. But the group program, you do hear from other folks who are in the program, other experiences. So whether or not you are in the program as one and you're working privately with me, or you're in the program with other people, there is certainly benefit. There are several deliverables, because you are going to be completing different activities. one of the primary deliverables is this, a customized career storybook. So what you walk out of this program with, out of these 10 weeks, you have something that that will benefit you for weeks, months, years to come. So it isn't just check, I'm done. It's something that you have, and it's something that I still have. I still have my strategy, my storybook, and that's what I poured into this program, Mainstream the Top Tier. So here's the URL here. If you want to go to the program after we're done with this webinar, check it out, mainstreamthetoptier.com, and there's a lot more information about the program. So let me just share with you some statistics. And some of these statistics are a little bit sobering, the challenge. And this is another reason why I created a program like this. So yes, I have been able to break through the glass ceiling 6 times throughout my career. I've broken through, but it's a tough journey. So you see some of the stats here. 33% of white men have received job or executive leadership training compared to 30% of white women, but only 19% of Black women do this. Only 19% of Black women go through or are benefited by or take advantage of some sort of leadership training program. My goal is to get that number up. I want to see as many people at least know that the opportunities are out there. You make the decision whether you're going to do it, but understand that the opportunities are out there to learn and to participate in programs like this. So now when you think about more broadly, this stat is just mind-boggling. 12%, of course, Black people account for just 12% of the US population, but yet only account for 3.2% of senior leadership roles at big companies. 3.2%, that number has got to go up. We've got to work together. And this is what I'm focused on. I want to see that number increase as well. And that's the whole point and purpose of my career right now, is to get numbers like that higher as well. 11% of white men had a sponsor or a mentor compared to 27% of white women and only 19% of Black women. We have got to also take advantage of mentors. I have a mentor. I've had a mentor. I posted this a couple weeks ago about a mentor I've had for 30 years. My dear friend, a guy who has been with me through thick and thin throughout my career, who's helped me build my career. Cannot overestimate, cannot say too much about the importance of finding a mentor, which is what I would be for you, a coach and a mentor for you going through this program. The last one I'll highlight, because I want to move on, is this next one. 3 in 25 C-suite leaders is a woman of color. Just 3 in 25 C-suite leaders is a woman of color. So I want to also make sure that we are getting that number higher. We want to increase those numbers. We want to get more people, not, Black women, people of color. I want to get more folks who have that drive, who have that desire, like Romina and Courtney do, into those top positions. And whether you want to be in the C-suite, you want to climb that ladder corporately, or you want to start your own career, which is what Romina and Courtney have talked about, then I want to help you do that as well. So these stats, I love these stats about the opportunity. There are so many opportunities out there. So we all know, especially now, uncertainty is stressful. There are a lot of folks who are feeling that stress because there is so much uncertainty out there. However, and this is something Romina just talked about, committing to a plan, making sure, and Courtney talked about it as well, making sure that you have made that decision to plan out your career. It helps put you in control. Your career should not be built by default. Mine was not. Courtney and Romina, as they have shared, theirs was not as well. So I do want to stress the importance of making sure that you're not building your career just by default. You wouldn't build a house by default. You wouldn't just say, oh, okay, well, you actually have a plan. You get drawings, you do whatever, you pick the counters and then your walls and your floors. I mean, I want that for you, for your career as well. And the last thing I'll talk to, but you can see the other pieces here, is it is about cultivating your skills for management roles. So whether it's management as far as managing your own business or management inside a company, there are so many benefits of signing up and participating in a career development program. Focused training can help you direct and motivate others. And it is about helping other people. What's that saying? Lift as you rise. So as you go through this career coaching program, mine or someone else's, it is all about your mindset and making sure, which, because I went through, and I'm still part of it, I went through, which just ended a career coaching program. But even once you break through glass ceilings like I have, you never stop learning. And I'm of that mindset that I never stop learning. And that's what's so important, because you do want to make sure that you are bringing other people, that you're helping other people build their careers as well. You want to be a motivator for other folks as well. And the last thing, actually, I do want to say one other thing, because I know Courtney and a lot of the folks who will watch this, whether live or the replay, healthcare workers. So there are a lot of benefits to participating in a professional development program, including higher earning potential and increased opportunities. And I point out healthcare workers, one, of course, that's the industry that Romina has spent a lot of time in, but that's also a big audience for this webinar. So now, polls, because you guys know, if you follow me, you know how much I like polls. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions for this poll, and it will help. Let's see. Grant's going to launch his poll. So we have 3 questions. There you go. So please take just about, 15 seconds. So the first question, do you believe a career coaching program can help you advance your career or grow your business? Yes or no? And then second question, so if you guys go ahead and answer that. Is that launched? I don't even know, host something. So what would you want a career coaching program to help you ultimately accomplish? Select all that apply. And then the last one here is, what would hold you back from working with the career coach or signing up for a program? So select all that apply. So take just a
Denise.
Yes.
Denise, as well, once we go through these polls, we actually do have a Q&A question. So once you go through them, we'll answer the question, okay?
Okay, sounds good. So go ahead, just take about 10 seconds to answer this. And is it launched, the poll, Grant?
Sorry about that. Yes, the poll is launched.
Okay.
They should see it in the yep. People are answering.
All right, cool. I just can't see it from my vantage point, so that's great. Okay, so as soon as you get everyone, we can share the results. Okay. Okay. So do you believe? So yes, it's in one no, rest or yeses. What would you want? So get a job, get a promotion. So most folks want to get a promotion, actually most people want to grow their business. Okay, so grow your business and get a promotion. So it looks like we've got some entrepreneurs here, because we've got start a business and grow your business as being the top 2, I think, vote getters. So that's great. I love the entrepreneur spirit. And then the last one, what would hold you back? So lack of time. Yes, I get it. It's way top of mind before I decided to sign up for one, which I've done the last couple of years, been one. And as Courtney Romina said, it is about prioritizing and making the commitment. It doesn't last forever. So it is a moment in time that could have benefits that last for a long time throughout your career. So no funds to invest. One person said no need for a coach, someone said, and then someone else said that you are ready. Okay, so hopefully we are answering some of those questions, some of those concerns through this. And I do have a couple of more. So thank you, Grant. I do have some more information that will hopefully also address some of that feedback. So before we talk to this slide, go ahead, Ariana.
Yes, so I have an anonymous attendee that asked, could you, the panelists, tell us more about your backgrounds and how you came to start your businesses?
So why don't we, Courtney, why don't you go, and then we'll go to Romina.
In summary, my background, as I spoke to a little bit, has been in broadcast journalism and then marketing and actually entertainment. And so I came to start my own business just after a couple of experiences in the corporate space, as well as for a couple of network stations that were not great experiences for me. And just the more and more that I looked at what was important to me. And again, like I've, in my volunteer work, have always worked with young people, especially girls of color, whether it's coaching through music and different journalism kind of service entities. And it made me just realize that, there's not enough of the journalism or the broadcast space and marketing space that is speaking or elevating, like I said, the voices of women of color and then communities of color. And so I just kind of like took the, that passion and said, hey, I'm going to try to, create my own space. And it wasn't a decision that I came to easily. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I had great support systems in place, including my parents and family members that allowed for me to have like months of, me hustling. I call it chasing dreams while financing reality, for me to figure it out. And everybody doesn't necessarily have that opportunity always. But I was able to start my career in that way by just like, having to have some experiences working for other people that let me know that, where my voice was at, where my passion was at, and my vision was at, wasn't going to be able to be, in those kind of positions. So I just stepped out on faith, literally, and been trying to figure it out ever since, but in a good way.
Yes. Romina.
Yes. Hi. Well, I've been working for the last 10 years in healthcare marketing formally. Informally, I've been really doing this since I was in high school. I will volunteer in causes that supported the Latino community, the immigrant communities like me and my parents. And specifically now during this pandemic and the shutdown, I just saw the need, we saw all the suffering of all our communities, and because they didn't have information, they lack access to services. And that's where I knew I can add a lot of value, because I've been doing this for the last 10 years. It's just work that I've always been doing and I enjoy doing. And I saw the need and I said, wow, this is where I can add value. And that's why this program was so important for me to know the value I can add and how to better communicate that value. And that was so very helpful. So, and also, learning from Denise, it was really inspiring because she has gone through also working in the corporate industry and now launching her own business. It was just a great opportunity for me to learn from her as well. So I hope that answered your question. I was able to broaden my skills, my background, my experiences, my passion, and just really put it together to really have an impact.
Great.
Okay.
Ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't spend much time on this because these guys have been talking a lot about the benefits of career coaching, what career coaching can do. So it can help you fulfill your career desires. So some of the benefits, just a couple that I would highlight, they talked, Romina and Courtney talked about gaining clarity. And that is one of the key benefits of going through a career coaching program, identifying the opportunities that are out there, learning your strengths, overcoming your obstacles, and of course, your unique value proposition, understanding what that is and how can you help lean into that and make sure that you are building on what your UVP is. So I will just quickly go through some of the pieces of the program, mainstream, the top tier. So there are 5 modules in the program. So you start this 10-week program. Your first week, you have access to a module. And the second week, you have your live group coaching session with me. And these coaching sessions aren't only specific to walking through whatever module you would have just completed, module 1, module 2, 3, 4, 5, but the coaching sessions are also designed to help you receive coaching from me on whatever's happening in your life and your career at that moment. So if during week 2, you come to the live group coaching session, let's say you had an awful day at work or something good happened. So awful day at work, you need some, help coaching you through whatever it was. How can you turn things around, for example, or maybe something great happened at work. Now you have this great support system who is going to be there to celebrate you, high five you, you go girl, or you go guy. This is wonderful. That's what these group coaching sessions are meant to do. So to help you get through or understand or have any questions about the modules themselves, or to be real time with you on this journey with you, whether it's in your business or inside a company. It is meant to help you, to support you, to celebrate with you. So start with you. And this is built on the story foundation because it is about your story. And Courtney and Romina talked about that. When you are building your career, when you are climbing that ladder, it's all about the story, your personal brand, the story that you're creating, the story that you are communicating. It's hard to go into a situation and you say, I want to move from here, mainstream to top tier, and not somewhere along the way, along your journey, define your brand and craft your story. It just doesn't work like that. And again, that doesn't happen by default either. It's about really focusing and defining and identifying and crafting and being strategic. This program, your career, is all about strategy. And especially now with so much going on, is how can you strategize to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to advance your career and reach your professional goals. And it does end with the why, your elevation strategy. And you do walk out of the program with your customized strategy that you can follow for months, years to come, and adjust as necessary. So I love this statement here: having a realistic career plan in place is often an essential part of career growth and our personal growth and development. And it really, and I think it was Courtney who really did talk about this specifically. Without your goals to strive for, it is going to be difficult to gain the skills that you need to gain. So it's about focusing and setting a path and setting a strategy and understanding. And this program actually helps you do that, because I've had people come into my program and not know where they wanted to go, not have a career path in mind, not know exactly what that top tier is. And through the program, I help them figure that out through some of the exercises and certainly some of the discussions that we have. So it's a program that is meant to help you get to where you're going. I'm thrilled to have Romina and Courtney here to share their experience going through it. So I want to just, before we leave, and see if there are a couple more questions, because we have just 3 more minutes. So make sure you save the date for our last webinar in our program. So MDK Brand Management with 5-Star BDM, Thursday, December 3rd. This is another can't miss opportunity. It is a young professionals forum. So we're going to have several young professionals who are going to join us, who are going to talk about a topic, which we'll tease a little bit later, but it is a young professionals forum that we will focus on for the next webinar on December 3rd. Okay, so Ariana, any last questions to get to as I put this last slide up for folks to join my Glassbreaker Facebook group?
Nope, there's no questions as of right now.
Okay, so.
No, well, we had a statement that we put out that we got a lot of interaction on. It is how everyone felt about Kamala Harris breaking the glass ceiling and becoming the vice president of the United States of America. And everybody's pumped. I'm like,
Absolutely. And so I do have this Facebook group, Glassbreaker, and did post, and I have a couple other pages and posted that. And absolutely, who isn't pumped? It doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. I did hear a couple of Republicans And all, of course, we were all glued to our televisions the last several days waiting for the results. And no one could deny what a huge, huge, huge deal that is. It just doesn't matter, Black, white, Latina, it doesn't matter. Everyone recognizes the significance, the historic, moment we all lived through. So thank you, Grant, for that. So with that, so do please either join Facebook group, and specifically my page, which is MDK Brand Management. It's my Facebook page, and then my Facebook group, which is Glass Breaker. So I do look forward to seeing you guys. Grant, Ariana, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday, December 3rd. We will let you know what time that will be when we get closer to that date. So let's end with just again saying thank you to our panelists, Romina and Courtney. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of what I'm sure is a busy, busy day. We appreciate it.
Yep, and I'll close this out at 5-Star BDM. We really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story as a corporate executive and having MDK brand management all the way from Boston. So we got Romina and we got Courtney from Boston, and I used to live in New England, so I appreciate the area and just having the opportunity to share and to bring inspiration to all of us. I think we all have an opportunity to grow our professional brand, and this is the time to do that. So let's not procrastinate and move the dial forward. Just so you know, and I don't know if Denise was aware, but we were able to advertise this program also through Becker Hospital Review. That'll be on a podcast. It'll be or I would say it's going to be broadcast here probably next week or so for that particular program, as well as another large one, which I don't want to announce right now. But we're getting some good recognition. I think this is an opportunity for us to take advantage of the program and move things forward. And also to note that this session is recorded, so you will have an opportunity to listen to it again, as well as others that weren't able to join us live at this point. So thank you very much from 5-Star BDM and MDK Brand Management. Goodbye.